Hey, I'm Christy Jordan with www.southernplate.com, and today we have a challenge. Last night while on Twitter, One Stop Mom tweeted out that she could not make cookies. I quickly tweeted back that she could make cookies, and she could make perfect, wonderful, and delicious cookies. All she needed was the right recipe and a little bit of confidence. That's where I come in. So I challenged her, name one cookie, any kind of cookie, and I will post a tutorial that will have you making them perfectly from start to finish on southernplate.com this week. She tweeted back that she wanted chocolate chip. Classic chocolate chip or, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, these are so good chocolate chip. Guess which one she chose? Lucky us. Okay, so today we're going to make, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, these are so good, chocolate chip cookies. Okay, let's talk ingredients. What we're going to need for these cookies. Now, y'all know me. Normally, I tend to go for quick and easy things. I don't like this encyclopedia list of ingredients. And by all means, I don't want anything exotic or special or something that I normally don't have on hand. I also tend to go on the cheap end of everything. Now, these ingredients, this is going to cost you a good bit to make these cookies. I would estimate, I don't know, Mom always says it costs about $20 to make them. I don't know if it's quite that much, but it's going to be not that much under it. But I will tell you, they're worth the trouble and they're worth the expense. Y'all know if I'm going to spend this much money on making a cookie, it's going to be darn good. Okay, so what we're going to need, brown sugar. I get Great Value brand, of course. Nothing but the cheapest for me and my family. The thing is, you know, generics, everybody knows me. I'm a generic queen. Classic old-fashioned oats. All-purpose flour. I even got generic for that. Let's see. White sugar to go with the brown. Baking powder. Baking soda. We're going to need 24 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. You know it killed me to buy name brand, but I didn't have an option. We're going to need 2 cups of butter, which is 4 sticks. Yes, I usually always use margarine, but just for this, I'm using butter. And then it calls for 3 cups of chopped nuts. You know, I hate to put chopped nuts in things just because they're expensive. I do love pecans, but I usually leave them out because of the expense. You can always blame it on the kids because they usually don't like them anyway. Anyway, I'm not sure if this is 3 cups, this is 10 ounces, and this is as much as these cookies are going to get. We're also going to need some eggs for these, and of course, this complete recipe can be found on www.southernplate.com. And it calls for an 8-ounce bar of Hershey's chocolate. Voila, le cheap. This is almond bark chocolate, cheap stuff. A lot cheaper than Hershey's. This is 24 ounces, but it's divided into 4 sections. So I'm just going to take off a section of that and use it. You can just break it off. Okay, a little note about our, if you don't normally make cookies, we've got, if your flour has been sitting in your pantry and it has a gathering of dust on top of it and it's not flour, let's go ahead and throw that out and get some fresh flour. Likewise with your baking powder and your baking soda, if this has been sitting open in your fridge or somewhere, just go ahead and get a new box. It's super cheap anyway. You want to do the same for the baking powder. If you can't remember the last time you used baking powder, let's just go ahead and buy some new because it won't hurt. That's real cheap. A very important thing to have on hand when you're making your cookies is a really nice cookie sheet. Now, the thin ones or your old rusty cookie sheet, they'll work okay, but you're going to have to watch your cookies and they're going to get baked a little unevenly. They'll be browner on the bottom than they should be. So anyway, what I'm doing to ensure One Stop Mom's success is I'm sending her a Walmart gift card so she can go get the cookie sheet that I use, which is an Air Bake Wherever cookie sheet. This is an insulated cookie sheet. It has a layer of air in between that and your cookies so they're not going to get browned unevenly on the bottom. This is the large size, and I'm recommending that One Stop Mom get that size because the bigger the better, and we like to make large batches anyway. Another thing that I recommend, if you've had problems baking something or something not turning out right, be it cakes, cookies, whatever, any type of baked goods, is get an oven thermometer. Because you don't know, over time your ovens they tend to get off in their temperature, and if you think you're baking a cookie at 350 and you're actually baking it at 375, that's going to change your baking time significantly, or it will have your cookie getting done on the outside before it's done on the inside. You know, different cookies need to bake at different times and different temperatures, and we just want to make sure that we're right. So what I want you to do is buy an oven thermometer. This is a really nice one. I'm sending including the money in the Walmart gift card for One Stop Mom to get her one of these too. See, it hangs. It just hangs on your little oven rack like that. Turn your oven on 350. Hang this on the rack and let it get preheated all the way. And once it does, check your thermometer and see if it says 350 as well. If it does, you're good to go. If not, you need to go by this temperature rather than what your oven says it is. So if your oven says 350 and this says 325, preheat your oven to 375 to get it to 350, and so on and so forth. For those of you who have a Southern Plate cookbook, this is on page 93, and it's entitled Mrs. Fields' $250 Cookie.
First, we want to measure out 5 cups of oats, and a good way to do this is to put them in your cup, and then use the back of a butter knife to scrape across to make sure you have an even cup. We want to put those in a food processor, or a chopper, or a blender, either one. What we're going to do is we're going to take those oats and we're going to grind them up a bit to make some oat flour. So just pulse it a little bit until it looks kind of like this. Next, we need a grater chocolate, and I'm actually just using a grater for that. So I'm just going to scrape it along that until I get that whole 8 ounces of chocolate nice and grated. Now we're going to measure out some nice even cups of flour into our mixing bowl. Into that, we're going to add our salt, baking powder, and baking soda.
And there we go. Voila, that's our flour mixture.
Now in a mixing bowl or a large dish pan like I'm using, you want to add your softened butter. Make sure it is softened, brown sugar and white sugar. We're going to mix that up good, cream it together, and then we're going to add 4 eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla.
Okay, now we're going to add our flour mixture. Just dump it in there. There we go. And we're going to hook up our mixer and mix this all together. Now we're going to add in our finely ground chocolate. Ooh, that's some serious ground chocolate. And we're going to add in all of our chocolate chips. 24 ounces. These aren't chocolate chip cookies. I don't know what is. Now, pecans. Like I said, this calls for 3 cups. I don't think I have 3 cups here. But I'll try to measure here and let you see. Oh, it'll be fine. Let's see, 1, 2, 2-ish. So I'm doing about 2.5 cups, and that'll be just fine. Let's see. Okay. And now we're going to mix all this up one more time. Here's the finished dough. We've got our chocolate chips and our pecans all in there, and our little chocolate gratings. The whole thing kind of has a cocoa-y look to it. Real chunky texture. This is going to make the world's best cookie. And I'm going to tell you right now, if y'all are watching this and you're not wanting one of these, something's wrong with you. Alright, and we've got our oven preheated to 375. Our hands are clean. What we're going to do is take up some of this dough, and we're just going to shape it into a little golf ball. Now we're going to bake these for 6 minutes at 375. And this recipe is said to make 112 cookies. But now, I'm always way too generous. As you can see, my golf balls tend to be more like baseballs, so I don't have quite that many. And also, some of them you'll find just leap right off that cookie sheet and into your mouth as they come out of the oven. Darndest thing you ever saw. And here we have our finished cookies. Now I'm going to let these sit on our cookie sheet for about 5 minutes before I take them off. That way they'll harden up a little bit and then won't kind of fall to pieces while they're on here. Here we go. Perfect cookies from Southern Plate to One Stop Mom. You're up next.